I have analyzed Bill Gates a couple times, from talking about vaccines to climate change to eating bugs or visiting certain private island. But every time he's asked about Jeffrey Epstein, you see reactions like this.
Epstein had a way of sexually compromising people. Is that what Melinda was warning you about?
No. I mean, No, I had dinner with him, and that's all.
Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. I have added markers to the most important body language signals that you're gonna see. So let's see if you can spot what do they mean.
Is that of your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you regret the relationship that you maintained with him against Melinda's advice and wishes?
Oh, I've said that you're going way back in time, but yeah,
new audience.
I will say for the, over 100th time, yeah, I shouldn't have had dinners with him.
It's important to notice the structure of the question and why this question is so important. Your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, do you regret the relationship that you maintained with him against Melinda's advice and wishes? Is a very emotionally loaded question, very well structured. The first reaction from Gates is to dismiss it with a simple shoulder shrug and looking away. I've said what I mean. This is you're going way back in time. He's trying verbally to say that, well, this question is no longer relevant, which is wrong because any question can be still relevant if, well, people want to know the answer. And he not only puts his eyes away, but also closes his eyes for a split second. That is a bit of withdrawal too. When people don't want to be at that moment, they do that signal, like closing their eyes much longer than a regular blink. A second shoulder shrug in less than 5 seconds. And the answer to that, well, that is way back in time. The interviewer says, new audience. Like, I don't care if you have answered this 100 times, you're gonna answer this 101. Now, notice the combination of body language and words. I will say for the, over 100 times, I shouldn't have had dinners with him. He makes a long pause.
For the, over 100 times, yeah, I shouldn't have had dinners with him.
He's making that pause because he's trying to think about his answer, and his answer has a clue. Because if all that he did was have dinners with him, then what does it matter? I just had dinners with him. He says, I shouldn't have had those dinners with him, but if those were just dinners, then what does it matter? At the same time, notice how he is looking into the camera answering this. It's like he feels that many people is gonna hear his answer about this, and he gets a little nervous about that because if there was no nervousness, if this was a natural answer, then he would just keep eye contact with the interviewer. In fact, when he says dinners, he has somewhat of a nervous smile, a very tense smile like this. Like he knows that, well, this answer is a bit wrong. If it was just dinners, then what was the problem? The good news is that the question is repeated in a not so subtle way.
Epstein had a way of sexually compromising people. Is that what Melinda was warning you about?
No. I mean, No, I had dinner with him, and that's all.
Now you notice that a pattern repeats. After a long pause, thinking about his answer, what he's about to say, he says, no, I had dinner with him and that's all. That's what he should have answered in the first question seconds before. Notice again, two things when Gates is trying to find the correct or right answer to this. He's again looking into the camera, afraid of what he's about to say. And he's also babbling, moving his mouth over that pause, but not sure about what he's gonna say. That signal of opening his mouth but not saying anything while he's denying with his head is a clue that he had something in his mind, but he has second thoughts about saying it. So that's a clue that we have to notice if we want to, well, ask a third question around the subject so we can get to the truth. Also, the smile that he's giving at the end is much more convincing than the previous smile. It's like he's, thinking about how should I be behaving when answering this question. And yes, here comes the third question.
And that you regret the relationship, the acquaintance.
That I had dinner with him.
And the relationship between the foundation and Epstein, which
There never was any relationship of any kind.
Well, in regards to that, never was a relationship between the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Jeffrey Epstein. You might remember those breaking news about the relationship. Damage limitation. Gates has done his best to minimize his connections with the disgraced billionaire. The New York Times reported. Yeah, we will have to go with the New York Times this time. Employees of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation also paid multiple visits to Epstein's mansion, per paper added, while Epstein spoke with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and JP Morgan Chase about a proposed multi-billion-dollar charitable fund. Not to mention, of course, that he, beginning in 2011, he met with Epstein on numerous occasions, including at least 3 times at Epstein's palatial Manhattan townhouse and at least once staying late into the night. Not to mention all those trips to the certain private island. What's more, in May 2021, the Daily Beast reported that Gates sought Epstein's advice on ending his marriage with Melinda after the Microsoft co-founder complained about her during a series of meetings at the money manager's mansion. Oh, how classy. A person familiar with the meetings told the site that going to Jeffrey's was a respite from his marriage. It was a way of getting away from Melinda. They added that Gates and Epstein were very close. So that's why the suggestion that there was a relationship between the foundation and Epstein upset him to the point of interrupting the question. There never was any relationship of any kind. You'll see that in his movement at the end, he is not only looking away, like he wants to, hey, do not ask that kind of questions again. This is the third question so far. Do not keep asking about this. And he's also turning in his chair in a defensive manner. You remember that was the same chair turn that he did when the first question came up. That subtle chair turn is the kind of signals that you have to be aware of because they are extremely subtle and important, because you will notice that throughout all the interview and throughout this question, there are very concrete moments when he does that. When the interviewer is applying a bit more pressure, he reacts that way. And that's how you know that this kind of questions, no matter if they have been asked 100 times, still affect him, and affect him for a reason. If there is an emotional reaction in the person, then there is a reason why that emotional reaction appears or manifests. And if it manifests, it's because it affects the person in some way. That's why you ask yourself if it was just dinners, and he even regrets having just dinners with Jeffrey Epstein, then why does he get so nervous every time the topic comes up again? And that's one of the reasons he tries to dismiss the topic over and over again with those double shoulder shrugs, those standard shoulder shrugs. And I'm sure that you spotted that when he said that this was the 100th time that he was asked that question, he made a single shoulder shrug. That is being not so sure about what he's saying. And yes, he was not sure about, I shouldn't have had dinners with him. Perhaps one of the most telling details is those click glances into the camera, like I'm being seen at this very moment, and what I answer is going to be seen by millions. Maybe Gates doesn't want his reputation as top expert in vaccines, climate change, and bug eating compromised by, those dinners with Jeffrey Epstein. Who knows? My body language buddies, remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and remember, much love and bliss.